Good morning to you, and thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. It is Monday, the 4th of April, 2022. I trust that you had a wonderful weekend, and good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in on this day. The show is Good Morning Africa, and my name is Mira Mogutu, and as usual, we're coming to you from Kenya's capital here in Nairobi. So I'll just do what we normally do on the show. That is, I'll take us through the headlines in Kenya, and also some are chosen, a few from Africa, and then we shall get into discussing some of the items that are featured in today's newspapers. We start with the Daily Nation from Kenya. Where is the fuel? That is the main headline. Long winding queues running into the dead of the night are becoming increasingly common in petrol stations across the country as the fuel shortage threatens to spiral into a full-blown crisis, paralyzing the transport sector and drowning economic activities that had just started recovering after 2 years of restrictions and lockdowns. Who is to blame, and is the country slowly grinding to a halt? The stories on page 2, 3, 4 and 5 on the Daily Nation. Raila attack could have banned the nation. President Kenyatta cautions against political intolerance and violence as two Uasin Gishu MPs and the county speaker are questioned on the Friday incident. The story is on the back page. A corrupt judge, a rogue lawyer, and sinister plot to abate terror. The trusted officers of the court can betray the country to terrorists in a classic example of the enemy within. The story is on page 6 and 7. And then Nanok, why I ditched Raila for Ruto to Kana Governor Josephat Nanok, who is also the Director General of Deputy President William Ruto's presidential campaign, speaks on why he abandoned the ODM camp for the Hustler Nation, their path to victory in the August poll, and why the DP fell out with his boss, President Kenyatta. That is a puzzle, and for Nanok to seems to be having that answer, I think go get yourself the copy of the Daily Nation on page 10 and 11. Nanok seems to know what really happened, transpired between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy. 2021 KCP counties with the highest number of missing candidates revealed. The stories on the back page on the Daily Nation, and we turn our attention now to the Star newspaper. Uhuru stoning Raila would set country on fire. Koisitani confesses youths paid to stone and heckle former Prime Minister. Page 4 and 5. And Boda man suspected of robbing foreigner. Police on Saturday arrested a Boda rider who abducted a foreign national, raped her, stole her money, her M-Pesa money, and abandoned her in Gong Road. The suspect, identified as Protas Onsongo, was arrested hours after the incident. The story is on page 3. Why employers may not call their staff after work. Senators have backed a bill seeking to bar bosses from calling, assigning duties to their staff outside the agreed working hours, saying the trend is ruining families. They have unanimously supported the Employment Amendment Bill 2021, putting Kenya on the way to become the first country in the region to allow its employees to disconnect from work. I think that's a very interesting story there, and many workers will appreciate that. The story is on page 8. Fuel shortage crisis deepens as state and oil marketers pay row intensifies. That is on page 11. Okay, now we turn our attention to the Standard newspaper. The main headline: Raila attack, MPs grilled. DCI summons 3 politicians to shed light on the incident that has shown spotlight on election-related violence. President condemns incident, says all aspirants should be free to campaign in any part of the country. You find that on page 8. And Grammy's Dream Run for Jabali Africa banned. I think maybe their words are still ongoing, or they just concluded in the US, and we'll find out later if Jabali was able to. I don't think so. I think Angelique Kidjo, the Benin singer, I think she scooped that in that category. I'm not sure. Motorists suffer as fuel crisis hits more regions. That is on page 4. And why Kalonzo has returned to Azimio campaign. The story is on page 10. And early marriage blamed for girls skipping KCPE. That is on page 13. Automated T-cells to boost farmers. That is on 21. And Pope prays for an end to Ukraine war. That is on the World News page on the Standard on page 28. And now to just a few regional newspapers from across the continent. We start with The Guardian from Nigeria. Amid pressure of Naira, experts proffer options to show up Forex. And The Punch, PDP backs Basenjo Adebayo's fears over killings, 2023 elections. And Daily Monitor from Uganda, Acholi MPs reinstate Olunya's burial cash. Okay. Bobby attacks government over right abuses. An inside story of why Museveni shuffled RDCs. And BBC probes cult churches in Uganda. That is what we have on the front pages there on the Daily Monitor. And on the New Vision, still from Uganda, students to miss UNEB over IDS, and 2 RDSs refuse to hand over. Okay, so that is what we have there. And the Daily News, I think this one is from Zimbabwe. Talks needed for essential reforms. Huenda says as crucial 2023 elections loom. And Newsday also still from Zimbabwe. SEC standoff leaves students' varsities in limbo. And The Citizen from Tanzania, TRA sets 15-year record as target now within reach. That is what we have on some of the leading newspapers in the country, and a few from across the continent. Indeed, thank you so much. So right now, I'm joined by Daniel Wesonga from Nairobi. Wesonga, very good morning to you.
Yes, good morning to you, Miriam Ogutu, at our headquarters in Nairobi. Good morning to my co-panelist, Paul Onyango, Gladwell Kirago, and our viewers here in Nairobi, East Africa, and the rest of the globe.
Very well, nice to have you. And we're also joined by Paul Onyango. Paul, good morning. Paul, can you hear me? Good morning. Well, as we wait for Paul to work on the connection there, we are also joined by Gladwell Kirago, also from Nairobi. She's a journalist and also our in-house analyst. Gladwell Kirago, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Miriam. Good morning to our panelists and good morning to our viewers.
Very well. Paul, I don't know if you can hear me. Good morning. I need to know your connection is all right before we start the conversation. Okay, so Paul is working on his connection, so once we're able to get him, he will come through. So, the story, what happened there on Friday still is what is making headlines, and also the fuel, it's been a crisis in so many parts of the country, and I hope this row between the oil marketers and the state is solved, because Kenyans are really feeling these effects, and soon people might not even go to work because there will not be matatus, there will not be fuel for their personal cars. So that is something that the government has to look at. And we will get into that story shortly. But I want for us to look at the headline on the Star newspaper on page 4 and 5. Uhuru stoning Raila would set the country on fire. That is what the president said yesterday. The country would have been plunged into widespread chaos had Raila Odinga been hurt in the chopper attack in Eldoret. President Uhuru Kenyatta warned yesterday. Meantime, a key ally of Deputy President William Ruto confessed the incident in which rowdy youth stoned the chopper carrying Raila was planned. So a member of parliament, Caleb Kositanyi, in whose constituency the attack occurred, said he would name the politicians who facilitated the youth. He himself has been implicated by police in planning the chaos, which he denies. We shall name the politicians who ferried youth. We shall name those who bought them alcohol. We have the numbers of the tractors and the lorries, he said on Sunday, addressing a roadside rally after attending a service in Pipeline area, Nairobi. President Kenyatta said the attack on Raila could have triggered a chaos and violence in the country. All right, before we even get to, what the president said yesterday, so a member of Parliament, Caleb Kositanyi, who's also been, named over the chaos that happened there on Friday, now says that he actually has proved, so I think that will go a long way in helping the police with the investigation, that these youth were bought and paid to come and cause this chaos and stone Raila and his chauffeur in Eldoret on Friday. I don't know what you make of these revelations, Daniel.
Miriam, the fact that they have confessed that they can actually go ahead and name the culprits, I think they should be actually into police custody, because it means they have a connection. They know whatever plans that were taking place. And if they know the plans that were taking place, then they would have assisted the police by reporting even before the incidents occurred. So to me, I think, Miriam, these individuals, just as the Directorate of Criminal Investigation has said that actually the forensic evidence put them at the crimes, maybe connected them to the attacks, I think they should just keep quiet and let our investigative agencies to do their work. And otherwise, Miriam, these small talk that they are doing on the side actually goes ahead to confirm that they were perhaps aware of what happened, and therefore, which actually further implicates them into this Bali that happened over the weekend.
Okay, thank you so much. Soy MP for Soy coming out and saying that indeed these attacks were planned, and he would, give names of the people who planned this and ferried the youth to that event, that burial, that Raila and his chauffeur being stoned there. What do you make of these revelations, Paul? Paul? We seem to be having a problem with Paul's connection, so maybe we'll just, when he's ready, he will let us know. Gladwell, good morning. Okay, so we seem to be having a bit of a problem with that. I wanted to get their thoughts. So anyway, of course, President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday was speaking after service in Pipeline area in Nairobi. President Kenyatta said that, why stone Baba's helicopter? What did that helicopter do to you? What if something bad happened? What if that stone hit him? Don't you think Kenya would be burning by now? The president asked. That is not something anybody would want, he said, as he called for tolerance ahead of the August 9th general election. In response to the president, Ruto ally Senator Kipchumba Murkomen said, the head of state has failed to condemn attacks on the DP, remaining silent or even calling stoning acceptable. When DP Ruto's team was attacked in Kibra, Uhuru said it's all right for politicians to be stoned. The Elgeyo Marakwet legislator said when the DP was attacked in Kenol and Embakasi, he was silent. When the DP was stoned in Kondele, he ordered police to blame a dispute over campaign money. The president is either coordinating attacks against DP or cheering them. Okay, so what do you make of what the president said and the comments there by, Murkomen? Daniel. Paul, can you hear me?
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much, Miriam. And of course,